preacher, you can sing the whole thing. You're all hired. It's a secret.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
My name is Leslie Berger. I'm co-president of the Temple, along with David Youngman. And I would like to thank Rabbi Mark, Cantor Stacey, Dr. Ray for services tonight. And also thanks to the ushers, Eileen McNilla and Dina Jastroff. And I say it wrong every time, sorry. And I'm supposed to point out the exits, the emergency exits. We have emergency exit over there.
Very good.
And in the social hall, there's two.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. And
There you go. Thank you, Rabbi. There you go.
I think that's it. Well, through the kitchen. Well, there's actually one in the storeroom. There's emergency exit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now you know. And thanks to our tech team, Phil Carey up in Washington, and David Youngman and Chris Jastroff. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Leslie. Thank you very much for rushing in and being with us and for doing double duty, helping with the setup and everything. Thank you so much. I do wish to call attention to the Sisterhood Paid Up Brunch taking place on Sunday. Always a great opportunity, a number of events going on during the week. You can check our online calendar or the printed calendar there to see more of what's going on. For those of you joining us on our YouTube channel, this is a great opportunity to set out some challah, a bissel of wine, or your other favorite Shabbat beverage to join us when we do the Kiddush and when we do the appropriate blessings. We have Shabbat greetings from Rita and Bob Rubin and the McNella family. Thank you very much, Eileen, for your continued support of our Shabbat greetings. And thank you, Rita, as well, who is here with her daughter, Sue. Thank you very much for your continued support. And I wish to acknowledge that Rita is a member of our temple board. So thank you again for donating your time and your support. Thank you very much. This is Shabbat. We have come to the end of the week. Some of us are less scathed than others after the difficulties or challenges of the past week. And this gives us an opportunity to pause, to think, just to be for a few moments. We are here together as one people, one community in our physical space, and with the advent of technology, even in our YouTube congregation. We have joined to share in this treasured moment together as we transition from the hectic demands of life and of daily routines. We are invited to leave the week behind. Let go of what has been, and let go of what will be, and enter into a place of stillness, a sacred place, a sacred space, and sacred time. Let us breathe in the calm of evening and pause. Let us breathe out the stresses of the week. Let us breathe in the calm of nightfall and pause. Let us breathe out and feel a sense of release. Let us breathe in the radiance of the moon and the stars and pause. let us breathe out all thoughts of doing and become one with this present moment. Feel the warmth of relaxation wash over you. Breathe in the radiant light and pause. Feel your mind becoming open and unfettered. Breathe out and feel your soul becoming freed to soar to new heights. Breathe in the calm. And let's pause. Feel yourself surrender. Breathe out everything. And focus only on the now. Feel your body, your mind, your soul become whole and at peace. Now we are finally ready to graciously accept this present from our loving Creator, to embrace God's gift of rest and rejuvenation, and turn our complete attention to Shabbat, to savor all that Shabbat provides: rest, connection, refreshment, and become enveloped by holiness as we breathe in and out once more. We pause and welcome this Shabbat. It is at the end of the week. It is at the beginning of the week. Let us enter this time with new melodies in our hearts, with new words on our tongues, as we welcome this Shabbat with the singing of Shir Chadash. Let us all sing a new song on this Shabbat. I invite Dana and Toby Porter to join us on the bima to lead us in the reading over our Shabbat candles and the blessing over our Shabbat candles.
You want this first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We give thanks to you, O God, for this Shabbat day, which brings us together as a community of faith and hope. For the holiness of Shabbat, which can lead us to fulfill the best that is in us, we give thanks. For the memories of Shabbat enriched by generations for our people who observed it, and from it drew courage to face hardship and light to banish darkness, we are grateful. We offer thanks for the peace of Shabbat, the day consecrated to family love.
O God, our turning to you lifts up our humanity. You are the joy of our life, the source of its greatness, its power, and its beauty. Help us, O God, to find inspiration for the coming week. Help us to find peace within ourselves and for one another. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, source of all being, who calls us to holy acts through mitzvot, and inspires us to kindle these lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, and welcome back home, guys. I know you've been home for a bit already, but we're glad to welcome you back to Temple Beth Or. We'll have a chance to hear more about their exciting adventures in the land of Israel later on in our service. To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in the sunlight, or a grain of sand. To worship is to work with dedication and skill. It is to pause from work and listen to a strain of music. Worship is loneliness seeking communion. It is a thirsty land crying out for rain. Worship is kindred fire in our hearts. It moves through deeds of kindness and acts of love. Worship is the mystery within us, reaching out to the mystery beyond. It is an inarticulate silence yearning to speak. It is the window of the moment, open to the sky of the eternal. We continue with the words of our Baruch Hu, our call to worship. I invite us to rise as we are able. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed le'olam va'ed. Yalalai 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 yalalai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitfonam meshanei etim, umachalif et hazmanim, umsader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvot shemo. El chai v'kayam. Tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv haravim. The world has our hands, but our souls belong to someone else. To set apart a day a week, a day on which we would not use the instruments so easily turned into weapons of destruction, a day for being with ourselves, a day on which we stop the idols of technological civilization, a day on which we use no money, a day of armistice in the economic struggle with our neighbors and with the forces of nature. Is there any institution that holds out greater hope for human progress than the Sabbath? We may be seated.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu Uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה נגי יום ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל.
The words we are about to share are words our tradition understands can be the only words that might be able to chain heaven to earth. It is the words that we share in the morning, in the evening. It's the words we share when we are born. It's the words we share when we die. The words of our Shema call upon us to listen, to pay attention, because the voice of kindness and the voice of compassion and the voice of our tradition and the voice of our God are so easily drowned out by the noise of everyday life. I invite us to rise as we are able, as we listen and as we share these words which span the generations, linking us to Jews past, present, and future.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod
We may be seated.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command thee on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by thy way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up, and when thou risest up, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
The Israelites walked into the Reed Sea 1 foot at a time. What were they thinking about as the water rose up their legs, chilling their hearts, advancing toward their open mouths? We continue to walk here now 1 foot at a time on our better days forward. Alone, I cannot reach the far shore without drowning. Somehow I don't go under. The person to my right holds me up. Something I cannot see holds her up. Blessed is the source of help, so often unexpected. I step forward. The sea is vast. Blessed are you, gracious one, for your miracles that greet us every day.
This will be new. A little new Micha Mocha for my friends. So, a little nigun to start us off, okay? Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ooh, let's do that again. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Same as the first. Mi kamocha Ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osef eleh. Nora tehilot, osef eleh, mi kamocha. Ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Malachutecha ra'u v'hanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Elianu ve'amaru, Adonai yimlok le'olam va'ed. Mi kamocha, you know this part. Ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Only one time this time. V'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov, u'yalom miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael, mi kamocha. Ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Same thing. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Now, that should be with drums, but I only got the one hand. So, wait till it has drums.
We will look forward to the healing
Thank you, Rabbi.
and the addition of the percussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cantor. These quiet moments of Shabbat open our souls. Blessed with another week of life, let us give thanks to all that has sustained us. For all the good we have known during the days that have passed, may we be truly grateful. We know that we did not always respond with our best efforts, but we did earnestly try. We tried to give our family love and devotion. Let us pray that we may grow more loving as the days and years pass. Even as we regret our weaknesses, let us nevertheless rejoice in our accomplishments. May we be blessed on each Shabbat with a sense of having grown in goodness and in compassion. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, Lasot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. I heard harmony.
A toddler thinks that she cannot walk, but she will. A child fears he will never swim, but he will. Many of our limitations in life are more perceived than real. It is only ghosts that are holding us back. In Hebrew, the word for lips, sfatayim, is the same word as for banks, as in the banks of a river. The banks of a river set its course, establish its boundaries, define its limitations. And so in just a moment, when we say, Adonai sefatai tiftach, Adonai, open my lips, we are also saying, Adonai, help me to see beyond my perceived limitations. I invite us to rise as we are able, as we continue with the words of our tefillah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Dovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imachot, U'Mevii Gula Livnei V'Nechem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol, Rav LeHoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Hayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Nishene Afar, Michamocha Baal Givurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We may be seated. We will again try a responsive reading, so when you see yellow text on the screen, and I know it's at the bottom of the screen, Rabbi, couldn't it be at the top of the screen? Well, you know, we're working with a limited technical budget, and we're streaming to YouTube, and if we put it in the middle of the screen, then it'd be over our faces.
It's okay for me.
And so, move your head a little bit if you have to, stand up. Eventually, we will win the lottery. If anybody wins the lottery, or Powerball, or whatever you're playing, we will gladly accept any donations to enhance our technical experience, and maybe even get everybody virtual goggles that you can just put on and see your own self in prayer. So when you see yellow text, for the blessings which you lavish upon us in forest, in sea, in mountain, and in meadow, in rain and sun, we thank you. For the blessings you have given us, joy and peace, meditation and laughter, we are grateful to you. For the blessings of friendship and love, of family and community. For the blessings we ask of you, and those we cannot ask. For the blessings you bestow upon us openly, and those you give us in secret. For all these blessings, eternal God, we thank you and are grateful to you. For the blessings of our tradition and of our holy days. For all these blessings which surround us on every side, O God, hear our thanks and accept our gratitude. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. Holy One, give me a quiet heart and help me to hear the still, small voice that speaks within me. That voice calls me to come close to you and to grow in your likeness. That voice teaches me to do my work faithfully, even when no one's eye is upon me. That voice counsels me to judge others kindly, to love them freely, for it persuades me to see divinity in everyone I meet. Help me, O God, to come to the end of each day, feeling that I used its gifts wisely and that I faced its trials bravely.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Le'olam. Yatahu melech adon lecha shalom. Yatahu melech adon lecha shalom. V'tov v'necha nivoret echamcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
We share our hopes and prayers for peace, for shalom and for wholeness, to all whose wholeness, peace, and shalom has been disturbed, perhaps even shattered by the challenges that they are facing. In a moment, Cantor Stacey will lead us in our Misha Berach blessing. There will be an indication for you during the musical interlude between the paragraphs to share aloud the name of a loved one you'd like to bring into this prayer of hope and of healing, so that we might bring them here into this space, into our hearts at this time. May all who are facing challenges and threats to their shalom, to their bodies, to their minds, may they be blessed on a journey that will bring them to a refuah shlema, a return to the wholeness they seek, the shalom that they desire. Baruch atah Adonai rofei hacholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us bring hope and healing to those who are in need. And let us say, Amen.
Avoteinu, makor habracha leimoteinu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebera imotenu makor habracha leavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We reach for you, O God, from our quiet places. May we be still for a brief moment and listen. May we be still for a brief moment and watch the play of sunlight and shadow on the leaves tomorrow when the sun comes up. For a brief moment, let us listen to the world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to become more aware of Shabbat and find the stillness of the sanctuary which the soul cherished, where we can renew the covenant of an ancient people. We need a quiet place to test the balance of our days, the weight of our deeds against the heaviness of the world's demands. The balance is precarious. May we be steadied by faith. Quiet places and stillness where we will hear our own best impulses speak. quiet places, and stillness from which we will reach out to each other and to you. May we find strength in silence, and with this strength, may we return again to your service. As we pause for a moment of silent meditation or such other prayer as the heart may prompt.
Yule ratson imre fi. Yule ratson imre fi. Vegan libi lefanecha. Adonai tsuri velo ali. May the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart, be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. O say shalom bimrama. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Thank you, Ray.
Cantor Stacey, thank you very, very much for bringing all of your music and your spirits and a new melody to us for the Micha Mocha. Thank you very much. Dr. Ray, as always, thank you for your wonderful accompaniment, especially on a jazz piece. He's a little more of a classical guy, you got to understand. So, so very good. Well done. Well done. Again, to our tech team, Phil Carey, David Youngman, and Chris Jastrock, thank you so very much for streaming our services. Those who have set up for our Oneg this evening, thank you as well. Although she has become comfortable with us and we've become comfortable with her, this is really the first night that we're welcoming, our cantor Stacey Morse to our Bima and to our congregation. Although she's been with us for a while, and so it's a great opportunity for us to take a little bit of time out for us to acknowledge and to welcome Cantor Stacey Morse, our Cantorial Soloist, to our congregation. It's been a joy and a pleasure for me to work with someone who has such a creative mind, albeit one-handedly so, during this healing process. And it has been just terrific to be inspired for thinking about music in a different way and thinking about some of our services and ways in which we can enhance them in a variety of ways. Cantor Stacey, I might be putting you on the spot for doing this, but I would love for you to come share a few words with us about you, about why you would like to be with us. Not an interview, you've already got the job, so you can relax. And just to share a few words about your journey so that we might get to know a little bit more about you, more than what you've written in the Beacon, and our opportunity just to be a part of you and you to be a part of us.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi. When Rabbi said I've gotten more comfortable with you, I thought, is that a hint? Should I take another shower? If I offended, is there something? And my road has been long and varied, but I always knew that if I stayed on the Cantorial path, things went a little more easily. Not wealthfully, just easily. And so it was important. Through my experience, I've done quite a lot. I guess my family and I were talking about the temples where I've been, honored to be a part of, and it's who were the temples? So many. Anyway, and it's ranged from Manhattan Beach to Redondo Beach to Torrance to I've done weddings and services across the world, seriously, in Korea and in Mexico and in Ireland. And so now I know how to speak Hebrew with an Irish accent. Baruch atah. That's very clear. It's very, very clear, yeah. Or that could be Scottish. In any case, that could be the Scotty in my Star Trek. Rabbi and I also have a lot in common, including Star Trek. Luckily, you do that with your right hand, not your left hand. And I've probably held some of the oddest jobs for a clergy person. Some of those I won't speak about on the bima, but no, just kidding. But I did drive a limo for quite some time. I was a bouncer in a biker bar, and why do people always laugh at that? And I'm so blessed to have my family with me tonight, who are my mom, Beverly, just give a wave, and my brother, Ben, and my nephew, Jack, and my dad, Steve. And one of the coolest things I think we do as a family is on Friday nights we get together as often as possible, and we sing the blessings, the blessings over the wine and the challah, and we. And one of the things we did, coming across country, I guess, we started singing in 3-part harmony, my mom, my dad, and I. And my brother was born, and all of a sudden he piped out with the tiniest tenor, no, I guess it was the tiniest bass line ever when he was 5. And we all looked at him and went, whoa! So we'll be doing a little bracha, a little motzi later on, which will be kind of fun. And it's always different. It's always different, and it's always fun. So I love to teach, and one of the things I teach is having the kids know all what I call the home prayers. So those are all the prayers that you do at home, and the candles and the brachot over the wine and I was going to say wine and cheese, over the wine and the bread, and other important prayers that you need to do to make Shabbat at home, and also so that the blessings that you have wherever you go anywhere, all over the world. You got some Jews, go visit the Jews, visit a shul, right? Visit a temple, visit a synagogue. It's all different, and yet it's all the same and familiar. So I'd like to thank Temple Beth Or. And who doesn't love the new insignia for Temple Beth Or? Lovely job. House of Light. And you guys have been such a light. Such a light. And it's really been a very sweet homecoming to Temple Beth Or. So I'm very excited. And I'd like to thank also the wonderful people. I hope that Miss Julie is on. And thank you, Miss Julie. And thank you. Where's Harry? Where's Harry? Yeah, where's Harry? Oh, there's sorry. Sorry. And thank you so much for everybody who worked so hard to make this possible. It's really been quite an honor. Great. And thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome.
You are all that in a bag of chips.
Don't go away yet.
Okay.
Our membership committee has special presentations for you. Sergio, if you would like to come forward, please. We will present our cantor with some items to make her feel even more at home. Part of the family, part of the furniture,
The part of the furniture.
and all those good things.
Thank you. Actually, I want to thank you, Stacey. You have shown us many lovely songs, and your words have meant a lot to us today. I wish my words could be as special to you. And actually, I had to make a few notes so I would remember what I have to say to you. And to everybody, on behalf of Temple Beth Or, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Cantorial Soloist, Stacey Morse. Thank you. Stacey, okay, I want to welcome you to our temple. We are so excited that you are part of our congregation. May you find Temple Beth Or as friendly and comfortable as we do. We are so fortunate to have you with us and to share with your talents, that is. You have enchanted us with your beautiful voice and inspired us with your uplifting songs and prayers that have filled our hearts with, and the sanctuary with pleasing melodies, old and new, especially the new ones. They're lovely. We want to show you our appreciation with this welcome gift basket and a house plant.
A house plant?
Yes.
Wow.
May the green
Wow.
fern
Thank
grow and flourish as you will with us.
And he doesn't know, but this is actually the truth. The only house plant I've ever been able to keep alive is this one right here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacey, I want to thank you for joining us. Stacey, again, may God bless you and keep you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Thank you, Sergio.
Have a hug.
Wait, gotta.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you. I'm taking the plan home. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
In the words of Jackie Mason, "Oh, is it busy in here?" Welcoming our cantor and also welcoming home a son of Bethor, a Ben Bethor, Tyler Porter, who this summer had the opportunity to compete with the Maccabi Games in Israel on the United States soccer team. And here to share a little bit about his adventure in Israel and the games he played and the fun he had and the running around he did and all of that, I invite Tyler Porter to share some thoughts and reflections with us this evening. Mr. Porter. Nice job. Check this out. Wait, turn around. Oh, look, I mean, come on. It's all yours.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
We're going to go down here. No, you're fine. We're going down here to see the picture.
Okay. So, before I begin, I want to say a huge thank you to the Temple Bethor board, the May Salinger Fund for their generous donation. I also want to thank everyone else, the various others who helped me get to Israel, most notably my parents and my grandparents who are watching. Thank you, all of you. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So, what is Maccabia? Maccabia is the Jewish Olympics. It is the second largest sporting event in the world, behind only the actual Olympics. This year was the largest group of athletes the United States has ever sent to a sporting event in its history. We sent about a little over 1,000 athletes, 100 people, including staff, which was mental health specialists, trainers, educators, physical therapists. We had everything we needed from everybody. This year in Maccabia, we had more than 80 countries competing in 40 different sports. Soccer was the largest sport. The U.S. sent 9 different teams across the U16, U18, men, women, 45 plus was the oldest age group. So, when we first arrived in Israel, our first couple days were pretty boring. Our first 3 days, we had 2-a-day trainings, and we didn't start touring until the 3rd day. So the U.S. does its recruiting a little bit different than other countries. A lot of other countries, the players meet each other beforehand and train together and get to know each other. The U.S. holds 2 or 3 tryouts at various cities around the country, puts you on 2 Zoom calls together, and hopes that you like each other when you get there. So I met the gentleman that I got to spend those 3 weeks with in the hotel lobby as soon as I got off my airplane. And the key was trying to build chemistry, and I think we did a really good job of that. So our first day of actual touring, we did Caesarea, which is an ancient port. It was the capital of Roman Palestine. It was founded by Herod the Great. And we walked around that area. It was very pretty. And at dinner that night, we went to where the Druze live. The Druze are an ethnocentric religion in Israel. They make up about 2% of the population. And they're different because they have extreme nationalistic views more than other Orthodox groups. So they largely decide to serve in the Israeli Defense Force, which is contrary to a lot of other Orthodox religions in Israel. Our second day, we visited Tel Aviv and Jaffa, and the picture in the middle is overlooking the area where the Jonah and the whale story happened. The interesting thing about Tel Aviv is you can see the difference between the old and the new. So the skyscrapers is part of Tel Aviv, the city. The area to the right on the picture on the right and the left on the picture on the left is Jaffa. That's the old city of Tel Aviv. And when you're walking around, it's literally a difference of block to block. You can really see it. Lunch that day was probably the best lunch I had on the whole trip. That's why I'm including this picture. We ate at the Carmel Market, and I don't even know what it was called, but it was delicious. Our third day was probably the most impactful for me. That was the day we did Masada and the Dead Sea. Now, it's the same thing that I told the president of Maccabia when he was on our bus. You can hear the story of Masada all you want, and you can hear that you'll float in the Dead Sea, but until you are standing on that hill or until you are covered in mud in that disgustingly warm water, you will never know what it's truly like to be in Israel and to experience it. So that was a really cool thing for me. The day after that, we did what was called Lev V'Lev, and that was an exclusive program for Maccabi USA, where various athletes in various sports departed all across Israel to do community service with various organizations. So the U18 and U16 soccer team worked with Shalva, which is a foundation and community center dedicated to helping people with special needs, specifically children. It's one of the leading research institutes in the country, and so we spent a lot of time learning about Shalva and then playing with a lot of the children that reside there and that go there for extra daycare and support. And that was a really cool way to, give back and to learn about the culture. That night, we heard from Holocaust survivor Rena Kint, whose story of survival was extremely uplifting. She ended up giving that same story to President Biden about 3 days later. He was in town for the opening ceremony, which I'll get to. The day after that, we did the Western Wall, and that was, it is everything that it sounds like. It was extremely moving. It was extremely religious. It was a deeply impactful moment for me to be able to pray and be so close to God. After we visited the Jewish quarter of the Old City, we had a mass B'nai Mitzvah ceremony. I did an aliyah. There were 3 aliyahs, one for those who had never had a B'nai Mitzvah and had never been to Israel, one for those who had had a B'nai Mitzvah and never been, and one for those who had had a B'nai Mitzvah and been, but wanted to rededicate themselves. So I participated in the second aliyah with around 100 other people, and that was a beautiful ceremony overlooking the Jordanian desert, and it was another, life-changing experience. That night we had a closing ceremony for our touring part of the trip, which was Israel Connect is what they called it. And we all thought that the closing ceremony was going to be lame, and it ended up being a very good time because we got to really see all of the different American athletes. It was a place, it was an open grass area, and everybody got to interact with everybody, and there was dancing and a DJ. It was really wonderful. We were staying in Tel Aviv in the beginning of the trip when we did all our touring. The youth competitions all took place in Haifa. So this next day was a very boring day of travel. We traveled from Tel Aviv to Haifa. It was like a 4-hour bus ride, and literally everybody fell asleep. This is us leaving our room in Tel Aviv, and we had our first game against Germany in Haifa where we won 5-0. Thank you. There's a lot of clapping. So we had the opening ceremonies in Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem. So we had to go back from Haifa down to Jerusalem, which is another 4-hour bus ride for those of you who know the geography. The question with that is there's 10,000 athletes in Maccabia, and Teddy Stadium holds 55,000 people. 45,000 seats were sold. All 10,000 athletes had to stage somewhere, so we staged in the hockey arena about half a mile from the stadium. And Maccabi let us watch as Team Canada U18 hockey beat Team USA hockey 9-1. Yeah, it was not ideal. I don't think the audio will play on this next video, but this was us walking out into the stadium. If you look up to the left, there's going to be a lit box. That was where President Biden was. The Israeli president and the Israeli prime minister were also in attendance. They both spoke. President Biden didn't speak, but we got to see him clearly. It was really incredible. The next video also doesn't have audio, but this was as we were waiting to walk out into the tunnel. Everybody was chanting USA, and it was just a really cool collective culture. So after opening ceremonies, we had our game against Mexico. This was my personal best game. I had 1 goal and 1 assist, and we beat Mexico 2-1. After that, we played Venezuela, who we beat 5-0, and I had an assist in that game. And then we beat Canada 6-0, and I had 2 goals in that game. After the Canada game, which ended at nighttime, we walked about 1.5 miles to Sami Ofer Stadium, which is where Maccabi Haifa play. That's the professional soccer club out of Haifa. And we got to watch a European game where Maccabi Haifa played against Olympiakos of Greece. And that was a really cool experience to see the sport that I love on the professional scale, but supported by a bunch of Jews. There were people in front of me wearing kippahs who I'd never met before, and that doesn't happen over here. Everyone who wears a kippah here I know. So that was a moving experience for me, for sure. So due to our winning, we qualified for the semifinal, which we played against Argentina, and this was by far our most difficult game. Before the game, before warm-up started, I walked across the field and I greeted my supporters. That's my dad, everybody. So the Argentina game, this is a video, is very loud. The Argentina fans were very, very loud, and you could hear them the whole time. We ended up winning that game 2-1 and advancing to the final against Israel. So I'm going to preface this next video before I play it. I had a lot going into Maccabi, a lot of stress, and I was really worried because my team was composed of ridiculous athletes. We had a commit to Yale, we had a commit to MIT, 2 commits to University of Chicago. We had 3 guys who were all younger than me, all of who have made professional debuts in the United States and Israel. So I was up against, I was playing with some of the top quality, and I played more than 3/4 of the game against Argentina, and this was right after the final whistle. I collapsed. But going through my mind was just, it was a long journey to get from, here to Philadelphia with the tryout where my mom took me, to back to LA and the Zoom calls and the thinking I wouldn't fit in, to, being an impactful part of a team on the other side of the world. Thank you. I'll let it play. It's not very long. I'll let it play out. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of chanting in the background, but that's all right. So the final was against Israel, and it wasn't a Maccabi Israel team. It was the Israel U17 national team, meaning these guys have been playing together since they were 7 or 8, and I'm going to bet most of them will play professionally in the next 4 years. This is the same team that's playing against the national teams of the United States, of England, of Spain. So we played in a professional stadium. The scene was beautiful. The field was gorgeous. This was a video of the warm-up. And this one's also cool because the music's playing and the atmosphere is good. Filmed by Mom, thank you. My parents are in this picture. They're on the top right. Can't see them, but they're there. We ended up losing to Israel in the final 3-0, and it should have been, that video's not going to play either. That's all right. It should have been far more than that. They should have won 9 or 10-0. But the experience of being there and interacting with those people and those players of such a high quality was ridiculous. So, in conclusion, again, I want to say a huge thank you, Rabbi, for letting me speak today. I want to thank the board. I want to thank the May Salinger Fund. And I'm going to leave you with the caption I wrote on my Instagram post about Israel, which was, "To my family at home and the family I met on the other side of the planet, thank you for making this experience the best of my life. I love you all."
That's wonderful, Tyler. Wait, don't go away yet. Yep, you're going to stay here.
I don't know that much Hebrew. I promise. I just pretend.
Do you have, where, show us the medal. Yeah.
You do want to wear your medal. You should be wearing that all the time. Your watch and your medal.
Yes, you'll definitely have to wear that, and we can all take a closer look at it during the Oneg. One side of it reads M21 for the Maccabia. This is the 21st game, but played in 2022. And the other side has a whole bunch of things. We've got a design. We've got what looks like, the flame, and I'm going to guess maybe the sea and the tower from Tel Aviv. Anyway, it's a beautiful medal, and we will all take a look at that. But there's one other thing I have for you, Tyler. Tyler graduated. When I first met Tyler, it was 14 years ago. He was about this big. And since that time, of course, he's not only grown, but he's gone through our religious school, our Hebrew lab. He became bar mitzvah. He became, he was a confirmand. We went to Washington, D.C. together. He graduated high school, and he applied for the Lou Zucker Memorial Scholarship. And in consultation with Evelyn and our education committee, I am here to present to you, Tyler, your check for $500 from the Lou Zucker Memorial Scholarship Fund, an opportunity for you to spend that $500 on whatever you need. I don't know if you had a chance to have Mr. Zucker. Yes, he's an institution in not only Southern California, but here at Temple Beth Or. As you can see, he was teacher and principal for the Bellflower School System, Jordan High School. He was a youth group leader for a long time, and here at Temple Beth Or, he's a past president of our congregation, as well as a consummate teacher extraordinaire. So, Tyler, we have some bio information about Lou and the many activities that he was involved in. He started life had a very difficult start in life. He was from a very poor family and went to work very early on at a newspaper, first delivering and then actually writing for that newspaper. Here's one of our gatherings we had with Lou, with all of the students who had a chance to have Mr. Zucker as teacher, which I believe includes your mom and dad. As well. So it was a special honor for us to be able to present this to you. Evelyn Zucker has since moved to Idaho, and we tried to get her in on some sort of a Zoom thingy. It just didn't work out with her schedule, but she was so proud to be able to present to a porter in the generations here at Temple Beth Or to be able to acknowledge you and congratulate you with a $500 scholarship. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
You are most welcome. Now you can go. So everybody be sure to take a look at this medal during the Oneg. It's very heavy too, makes a great paperweight.
Nice.
And Harry, a thought, although I don't know how she can be on the bima and bouncing at the doorway, but if you ever need someone rough and tumble at the doorway, we have an ex-biker bar bouncer here for handling at the greeters. With that, let us move to the conclusion of our worship service with the words of our adoration. I invite us to rise as we are able as we continue with the words of our Aleinu.
Just hold that thought. I never want to cheat, you know? Oh, and it's there. Nice. Thanks. In front of me? Thank you. Aleinu l'shabech l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה לעשה בראשית, שלא עשה כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחת אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כגן, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Oh, sorry, my bad. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד בכל היום יהיה אדוני אחד ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, those who live on in our hearts and our memories, and in the place we call Olam Haba, the world to come. We call to mind one for whom we are observing the Shiva and Shloshim, Mary Lewis, dear family friend of Leslie Berger. To her name, we link the names of those whose yahrzeits have occurred during this past week: Gerald Fagan, Ray Sherman, Lawrence Shelley Lefcourt, Peter Paskus, Erwin Altanu, Moss Adelson, Alma Bernstein, Phyllis Ryback, Pedro Gak, David Richards, Harry Bill Carmen, Buddy Melnick, Rachel Hindale, Shmuel Yosef Feldman, Anne Trundle, Sarah Minna Feldman, Shimon David Feldman, Israel Eliyahu Feldman, Tzvi Feldman, Yitzhak Feldman, Evelyn Credenzer, Irene Pelkison, Marvin First, Louis Roman, and Molly Gordon. To those names, we link the names of those for whom we are observing the Kaddish period: Didi Ginter, Dorothy Bernard, Molly Shartoff, Erica Cherie Barnes, Kaylee Goldstein, Craig Wilford, Fred Fink, Joyce Ulibari, Ralph Goldstein, Marvin Asnes, Norma Lippi, Claire Phillips, David Kaplan, Helene Lieberman, Laura Cutler, Marty Hershkowitz, Dottie Roth, Gerald Kramer, Mark Lightman, Stephen Z. Levoot, Harleen Brow, Tim Manriquez, Lenny Lightman, Lorraine Stein, Harry Fox, and Ed Ginter. If there's a loved one whom you are remembering, I invite you to share that name at this time. To those that we have named aloud and to those that we keep named in the quiet places of our hearts and memories, we link as well the names and memories of the men and women of our armed forces who have given their lives for our liberties and our freedoms, those who have given their lives for our safety here at home, members of our police, our firefighters and other first responders, and of course the members of the Israeli Defense Forces who have given their lives for the hope of peace. And sadly, just this past month, the over 3,000 Americans who died by gun violence, non-law enforcement encounters with gun violence. Our hearts go out to all who have suffered loss and tragedy. Those who have died, may their memories be a blessing and be a source of inspiration for us as we share together the words of our Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru, amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei d'kudesha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May all of us who mourn and all of us who are bereaved, may we find through God's eternal presence a source of strength, courage, and hope, above all a source of shalom, of peace. And let us all say, Amen. Amen. We may be seated for a moment while the cantor and I have a chance to do Kiddush for us, toasting the joy of this Shabbat. During our concluding song, I will invite the cantor's family to join her here so that we might share in our 6-part harmony, 27-part harmony. With that, we toast the joy of Shabbat, celebrating our cantor, our cantorial soloist, Stacey Morse, celebrating Tyler's wonderful success in the Maccabia Games and his experience in Israel and the family's safe return here to home. With all of those joyous occasions, we share together the words of our Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesha, be'ahava uvratzon, Hinchilanu, Zikaron le'maaseh Bereshit, Ki hu yom tehila le'mikra'e kodesh, Secher l'tziat Mizrayim, Kivanu v'chata, Ve'otanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, V'shabbat kodecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. And we conclude this evening with an easy melody, words that you can just repeat after the cantor. I invite us to rise as we are able. If you are comfortable holding the hand of someone next to you or putting your arm around the shoulder of someone next to you, please feel free to do so. As we conclude our service with the singing of a joyous melody of Adon Olam. Nothing.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Letzir Nivra,
Leit Nasa,
Leit Nasa,
B'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra
Adon
Adon
Olam.
V'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimlok Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Oveh, V'hu yeh b'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Leit Nasa,
Leit Nasa,
B'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad, V'ein Sheni, Lacham Shilo Lachach Pira B'Adon Olam, Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, V'lo Ha'oz V'Hamizra Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yitzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Leit Nasa,
Leit Nasa,
B'chefso Kol, Azai Melech Shemo
Nikra
Nikra
Adon Olam,
V'hu Eli, V'hai Goeli, V'tzorchev li b'yitzara Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi, Umanos li, Manot kosi v'yom ekra Adon Olam. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Asher malach.
Asher malach.
B'terem kol.
B'terem kol.
Yitzir nivra.
Yitzir nivra.
Liet nasa.
Et nasam.
Behefsto kol. Azai melech
Shemo
shemo
nikra
nikra
Adon
Adon.
Olam.
Biyado afkid ruhi. Be'eti shan ve'aira Adon Olam. Ve'im ruhi geviyati Adon Ali v'lo ila Adon Olam. Adon Olam.
Adon Olam.
Asher malach.
Asher malach.
B'terem kol.
B'terem kol.
Yitzir nivra.
Yitzir nivra.
Lied nasa.
Et nasam.
Behefsto kol. Azai melech shemo nikra Adon
Olam. Cantor's family, if you all will please join her here for a moment.
Morses, come up this way.
Everybody just stay right where you are for just a moment because it's time for Jewish trivia. Can you name Cantor Morse? Can you name the cowboys listed in Adon Olam?
The cowboys?
There are 2 cowboys
Tell me.
listed in Adon Olam.
Tell me.
I'm trying to fill time while your
Okay.
family gathers.
I don't know. Tell me, what are the cowboys listed in Adon Olam?
There are 2 of them.
There are 2 of
Are you
them?
ready? There's Billy Reshit
Bill-
and Billy Tachlit.
Oh,
The 2 cowboys in
Oh,
Adon
no.
Olam.
The 2 cowboys. That was absolutely painful. And yet really good. Perfect. My awesome rabbi, ladies and gentlemen. Here, Ben, you hold, and you start. My brother will hold, and you will start us. Everybody? All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam hamoseh lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Beautiful. Let's hear
Very
it.
fine.
The
Shabbat
singing
shalom.
Morse family.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
That's so funny. Shabbat shalom, mama. Shabbat shalom, baby. Love you, baby.